A dart is a method of controlling fullness. The bust, waist and hip are places where darts are used so the garment follows the curves of your body. What I have done here is I have cut out the pattern piece which shows the marking of the dart. I have pinned the pattern onto two pieces of fabric with their right sides together, as you can see here. There are many ways to transfer the dart markings onto your fabric. I will be using tailor's tacks as they have many advantages, such as 1, they do not damage the fabric like pins and the tracing wheel and carbon paper may do. Care must be taken with some fabrics due to their delicate nature or weave. Sometimes the carbon will not wash out, or the pins actually leave a hole in the fabric and damage it. A big advantage of using tailor's tacks is that they do not fall out. And lastly, tailor's tacks actually mark both pieces of fabric in the one process, which saves time. It is necessary to transfer the dots onto your fabric. On this dart, there is 5 dots, 2 at the bottom, 2 in the middle, and 1 at the tip of the dart. For tailor's tacks, you need to thread a needle using a double thread, which is no longer than your elbow when held. Thread too long will tangle. Do not tie a knot at the end. A tailor's tack is done by inserting the needle at one end of the dot and passing it through to the other side of the dot. Make sure you leave a tail like this, and also check that you're going through all thicknesses. You repeat that procedure again, but this time you leave a loop. So you have the tail, you have a loop, and then you cut off, leaving a tail on the other side. You repeat this for all the dots, so there's 4 more to go. I have completed all the tailor's tacks, and so now I need to remove the paper pattern from the fabric and also to separate the tailor's tacks. So I'll remove all the pins. And at this stage, when you're removing the paper pattern off the fabric, you need to be careful not to pull them all out. So hold the tailor's tack underneath and then carefully pull the tailor's tack through the paper pattern. Do that for all 5. And this is the last one here. Just make sure you don't pull them through and then you have to do them again. The next thing you need to do is to now separate the tailor's tacks, and by doing this you actually have both pieces of fabric marked, showing where the dart goes. So just pull carefully and snip those tailor's tacks in half. Continue until you've done the last one, which is the tip of the dart. So you now have your tailor's tacks marking the darts on both pieces of fabric. Now you are ready to pin your dart together. Just remember that you place right sides together and you match your tailor's tacks. I always start at the base, so I match them as best as possible, looking at the right side of the fabric. Then I turn it over and place the pin. I check on the other side to see that I actually have correctly matched up those tailor's tacks. You can see that the pin actually is right in the red tailor's tacks there. Continue to match those tailor's tacks. So I'll do the one in the middle. So just lining up those two tailor's tacks, turning over to the wrong side, and then placing your pin in. Lastly is the tailor's tack at the tip of the dart. There's nothing to match up with because there's only one tailor's tack there, so just make sure that you place the pin in with the tailor's tack directly on the fold. You can then place in extra pins, and you are now ready to sew that on the machine. When stitching the dart, use a regular straight stitch. That means your stitch length should be set to 2 to 2.5. When starting to sew, always start on the widest part or the base of the dart. Don't forget to backstitch 2 or 3 stitches. When you get towards the tip of the dart, it's important to check that you are gradually tapering to that point. What I would recommend is that when you get quite close to the tip of the dart, you aim to sew on the fold line 2 to 3 stitches. This will encourage you to sew very, very close to the edge and gradually sew and fall off the edge. So 1, 2, 3. Just remember that at the tip of the dart it's important not to backstitch, so make sure you leave a long tie or long thread. So using the long ties, at the tip of the dart, tie a double knot. And trim the tie to about 1 centimetre in length. At the base of the dart, just trim off the threads from the back stitching. Next, remove the tailor's tacks. However, for the purpose of marking, please leave them in. So then the last step now is to press the dart. There are a few basic rules. Vertical darts should be pressed towards the centre front or back, and horizontal darts should be pressed downwards. Use a steam iron firstly just to press the dart as it was sewn. Then open up the dart and press from the base to the tip. Take care at the tip of the dart so that you don't actually iron the shape out. So just approach the tip of the dart from this angle, making sure that you don't actually iron any creases in. Lastly, turn the dart over to check that there are no creases on the right side. You have now completed your dart.